Now here's a blast from the past. I got this engine just the other day off of eBay, and by the way, I don't really buy much from RC Groups anymore because they pretty much suck, and I've been really fortunate on eBay. This is a OS Max 30 engine, or an S30, and this engine was sold as new and never run, and based on my sniff test, I would tend to agree. Now it comes with the stock OS 703 exhaust, and it came with this spinner nut, which I don't know that it really came with, but it came to me with it, which is nice because it's a nice addition. Now this engine dates back to 1964 according to the OS timeline, which I think is kind of odd because they actually put out almost an identical engine like this, the 20 and the 25. I think the 20 was a control line, and then the 25 was a RC version like this, and that was in 1971, so I'm not really sure how the timeline matches up, but I am going to do a quick look, or a look inside of this engine, just to see if we can see anything about it being run. Now, like I said, I did my smell test and I didn't smell anything, but I managed to find a copy of the instructions that come with this, and those instructions actually state that OS runs all of their engines prior to shipping, at least back then. So maybe it's been run one time. So I had to go digging in my toolbox to find the screwdriver that perfectly fits these old JIS screw heads, and I found one. So if this engine is truly from 1964, never run, then it's going to be pretty cool find. And it's also going to be interesting to see if there's any oil inside this engine, looks like from the manufacturer used to preserve it. Nice gasket there. Gasket is completely intact and movable. Now on the inside of that, it smells like tooling oil. Inside of that would indicate that yes, this engine has never seen fuel. Let's talk about this plug. This plug obviously is not one that came with this engine, because this looks like a Fox plug. Would appear to be a Fox plug of some sort. Now the thing that I like about this is back in the day when they were doing brass, doing brass inserts for the glow plug, which is kind of a cool thing. Okay, so it's a crossflow scavenged with the baffle piston. It's got that cutout in the top of the head. Does not appear that it's had any real runtime there because there's no carbon at all. Here's our inside of our, oh wow, its sleeves just want to come right out. So I do see a little bit of oil here. Definitely doesn't smell like any run oil. So since this sleeve was so willing to come out, let's look at this and see how it went in. There's our exhaust port, and then just one big intake port apparently. And there's our nice, beautiful piston. Look at that thing. That's one of the few times I've ever seen almost a near mirror finish on the outside of a piston like that. That's just absolutely beautiful. So let's do this. Magnet, Mehanite piston. Magnet holds it quite easily, but man, that thing is polished. Looks like, and this crank pin would just, or the wrist pin would come right out, but I'm going to leave it in there. Same with the sleeve, steel sleeve. And this is a super nice engine. Now look at this little crankshaft. So this engine reminds me a lot of what would soon become the FP series of engines, in that it's just a bronze or bushed engine, as you can see. I think it's a bronze or brass bushing with your very simple air bleed carb as featured in all of the FP engines. But this is a really fantastic little find. It came with, this engine didn't come with a box or instructions, but it did come with 2 props, fuel tank, some other things. So it looked like somebody had purchased it and then just never done anything with it. And I mean, it's just a beautiful little engine, a beautiful representation of OS quality. This case is just really nice, and it's one of those things where the older OS stuff was just so nice, and you could just kind of feel the quality just holding it in your hands. But so that was a look inside this beautiful little OS Max S30 2-stroke engine. So hopefully I'll be doing some runs and break-in of this engine here very soon.